We're going to try reading a story together. And this story is called Pat the Cat. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a chance to read the story on your own and try your best to try to sound out words that might be difficult. Then we'll go over it together and we can figure out what words might be more challenging. So you can go ahead and pause your screen right now and practice reading the story on your own. Then we'll go over it together. Okay, let's practice reading this together. And we'll go over some of those words that might be a little bit more challenging and see how we could figure out what those words said. So let's start. Pat the cat. Pat is a cat. This is one of our number words here. Think about what word would make sense. Good. One day he went. This word here is a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to think about what words I know, how I could figure out what this word might say. So this first, I'm going to chunk it, and this first part of the word says out. That's a sight word that I already know. Then I can tell this word right here is a magic E word. The E at the end is going to make the I say its name. So, I'd, outside. I chunked that word and was able to figure it out. Next, to play. Now, I've kind of forgotten what that sentence says, so I'm going to come back and read the whole thing together. One day, he went outside to play. He saw dog. They, this word's a little tricky. I'm going to try the strategy of skipping it and coming back. They, to play together. That was a word we've gone over. They, to play together. They, what would make sense? They started to play together. They ran, that's a tricky word. I'm going to skip it and see if we can come back to it. They ran, the tree in the front yard. They ran the tree in the front yard. They ran around the tree in the front yard. Dog hid behind the. This word you also may need to chunk. You might want to break it into two pieces. So, bush is bushes in the yard. Pat the cat found him. This is also another tricky one. I'm going to chunk it. Sud, and then the second chunk. D-N, sudden. Then my ending sound is lee. Suddenly. Suddenly, Pat, this is a tricky word as well. I'm going to just tell you. Heard. Suddenly, Pat heard dog. I'm going to chunk this word. Cry. I-N-G says ing. Suddenly, Pat heard dog crying. He had stepped on a thorn, and it was stuck in his paw. He had stepped on a thorn and it was stuck in his paw. Pat took it out for him. Dog smiled and let's chunk this word. Lick, licked, and licked Pat on the, a magic E word. The E at the end will make the O say its name. Nose, nose. Let's read it all together. Pat is a cat. One day he went outside to play. He saw Dog. They started to play together. They ran around the tree in the front yard. Dog hid behind the bushes in the yard. Pat the cat found him. Suddenly, Pat heard Dog crying. He had stepped on a thorn and it was stuck in his paw. Pat took it out for him. Dog smiled and licked Pat on the nose. Let's look at the first question here. How do you know Pat the cat and Dog are friends? Look back in the text and I want you to write down, how do you know how the Pat the cat and Dog are friends? When you look back in the text, you might note, if you're writing it down, that Pat and the dog were playing outside together, and Pat helped out his friend Dog when she heard Dog crying, and the dog smiled and licked Pat on the nose, which shows that they're very friendly. Question number 2. How was Dog feeling at the end of the story, and why? Look back in the text and take some time to write your answer. Pause the screen if you need to. So we can go back in the text now and see that Dog smiled and licked Pat on the nose. That gives you some clues about how the dog might be feeling. Right, maybe the dog is feeling happy to have such a good friend like Pat the cat. Awesome job reading today, and keep up the hard work.